So I'm just going to contrast doing that you could still, if there were two very different substances, I just mixed together into a bottle somehow, but there's still meaningful use for it as an ingredient. And that was done as a group 1 specified substance, which is not a substance, but a more specific version of a set of substances. Yeah. You're having dimethicone? Very curious. The brackets still show up, so that's still pretty similar to in a group. You can still select a set of substances to qualify. There will always be a substance behind it that you're qualifying at least one, but you can have many. So one example would be, if we're doing acetylcholine. We haven't taken it.
Now, the FDA, it is our plan that I'm not getting anything from my perspective.
The internet exploded.
And it,
You didn't pay heating bills?
We heated too much, now we're saving
They really need money, so,
now, at FDA currently, these group 1 specified substances are really not being used yet. And, but the concept of the unique ingredient identifier goes beyond single substance concept. So, dimethicone with detailed specification, which is more than the SBSP, would be a group 1 specified substance that we could define and generate a code for, and a sponsor could use it as an ingredient in the drug. Right now, sponsors actually include the code for the individual components that make up these specified substances.
Relatable, right? There'll never be a time when group 1 by substance uni cannot be dished back to a set of a single substance.
Right.
Right.
Right. And so what you're getting is amount of the components along with what the components are. Go back to the original substance.
Mixtures actually are defined by their links back to a set of substances, just with some of the qualifications that specify substances.
And again, raise some Tyler, again, we might have 2 representations, one like in the standard, which is a single structure representation, and the one would be a mixture,
Of the
of the neighbors,
Something gets in the original substance.
It's propagated.
Okay.
Things have changed. Those are the defining substance that's referenced, then that's sort of defining change.
And we do add components to mixtures. A lot of times, you find out there wasn't, the gentamicin example, we went with the USP definition, and then our European colleagues corrected us and said, there's actually another gentamicin in there, and so we just add that into the mixture. And
well, actually, a recent one, Advancing before we publish in June, and it's bonus, because that's, those are data defined.
Yeah.
So, but that may work with that USAN 9N, but maybe not.
So one of the questions I guess I had is like conjugated estrogens, I think is another example where the number of
Network is down right now.
Yeah.
number of components has changed over time.
And it changed, you know, in the regulatory environment as well, you know, and,
The network of,
it's definitely
everybody.
We're all
yeah.
we're all known age now for a second.
Yeah, that's right. We have to write your contract for US. Not, you know, it's a charitable arm.
I mean, we need some Dutch hackers to get us working.
Maybe we could
Probably
want to
maybe take lunch early and then.
take lunch early might be a better idea.
Yeah, because then nobody can see the WebEx.
Or we can have just some basic other discussion first. You don't have later on move it up just a bit. That doesn't require visual. So let's just looking quickly at the. I think there's still a little bit that we could discuss about the distinction between mixtures and group 1 substances. Everybody's very excited.
And the thing that's changed, again, oils, you know, where those would be considered group-defined substance from now on. In our system, there's still substances, but, you know, we would compromise about your colleagues. Doesn't matter, we'll have to say.
You can't, no one's doing online.
Soybean oil that's a food, it's a substance. Soybean oil that's herbal, it's specified.
Yeah, probably. We're just going to be a few more minutes of discussion. I'm just going to summarize. Summarize our discussion on the specified substances versus mixtures. Is that the specified substances will always contain relative amounts of components. If there are more than one component will also contain information about the role that component plays inside of the ensemble. Whether that role, it might just be the only substance there, and it will also contain more additional properties that you may not capture at the substance level that are qualifying physical state or something of that nature. For example, we'd use that dioxide is a substance. Dry ice is a specified substance group 1. Water is the same way. Liquid water is a specified substance group 1, but water's general concept is a substance.
Right, and then the water, USP, water injection, all of the great things will be also probably group 1 specified substance, not you know.
Every detailed grade.
Sterility will be a property, but the sterile property.
That's right.
But the use of it would be, essentially, we'd like you to use the most specific unis, so some of your listing, you may change to specified substance, you know, from, again, we have to work that out.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
I mean, all these things now are just using mapping as water,
Yeah,
eventually be water for injection.
water for injection.